Royal baby name. Back here at home, totally switching gears, Anthony Weiner clinging to his campaign for mayor of New York City one day after he admitted in front of a lot of cameras that he kept sending lewd pictures and texts for a year after that sexting scandal forced him to resign from Congress. Two major New York newspapers, the New York Times, New York Daily News, published editorials today calling on Weiner to quit the race. Just this morning, our cameras caught up with Anthony Weiner as here he was walking out of his New York apartment. He did his best to keep the focus on New York, on the issues, instead of, well, the scandal.
This is not about me. This is about the fact that in the middle class, for people struggling to make it in this city, they can't find housing they can afford, jobs with benefits, their education system isn't what it's about. This is what I've tried to talk about every single day. And there has been a disconnect. Many of you have been focused on other things, but when people talk to me on the street, they don't want to talk about something in my past, they want to talk about their future.
Well, at least one of Weiner's opponents is not buying that. Watch what he told CNN this afternoon.
The debate being about those central challenges, it's all about the personal life of Anthony Weiner. And this sideshow has to end. And that's why yesterday I called upon him to step aside to do what's right for New York City.
I should tell you, we've also gotten our hands on a piece that his wife, Huma Abedin, wrote for the September issue of Harper's Bazaar. It is entitled The Good Wife. It was written before Anthony Weiner's latest scandal broke, and the fiercely private Abedin explains why she's out there in the public eye campaigning for her husband. Quote, "So why am I doing this? Because Anthony has always been a smart, caring, and dedicated person, and while he's the same public servant who wants what's best for the people he represents, he is now something else, a better man. New Yorkers will have to decide for themselves whether or not to give him a second chance." Let me bring in CNN political commentator Ben Ferguson in Dallas and author and Sirius radio talk show host Ginny Hutt in New York. Hello, you two. Nice to see you. Ginny, I'm beginning with you just because you're a New Yorker. You will be voting in this race. What is this really about?
This is about people being excited because it's a salacious story. And when there's sex and there's someone to be angry about because he's done something that's seemingly unscrupulous, it's a feeding frenzy and it's fun to look at. But frankly, I think this is about their marriage, and let them handle their marriage how they want to.
You two are both married, not to one another, but you're both married.
Yes.
You know, no couple is perfect. You have the ups and downs,
No.
as Huma was talking about yesterday. Ben, you know, Huma is closest to him. You have the voters. They see her standing by her man. She said yesterday she forgives him. Shouldn't they be taking, you know, her endorsement into consideration before they vote?
But what happens when little Timmy's calling the mayor's office to do a report on the mayor, and he calls in the evening, and Carlos Danger answers the phone?
I mean,
too soon, Ben
that's what I'm worried about here. I mean, no, but seriously, can we do any better than this? That's my big issue is
Do better
you've
how?
got a guy that's got problems, and you've got a big city. Is this the best that New York can do?
Listen,
a guy that's nickname is Carlos Danger. Let's be honest. That's kind of embarrassing.
Ginny, jump in.
Okay, so Brooke, this is what I think. If he were running to be a family therapist or a marital therapist, correct, not the right guy. But in terms of doing right for our city and focusing on the issues, I don't think this is problematic. This is about he and his wife. Intricacies of relationships, there's complexities. I'm married 16 years with my husband, 17 and a half. Would I be happy if my husband were to behave in this manner? Of course not. He'd be in big trouble. But I'm not married to Anthony Weiner, and Huma is, and leave her alone to do as she pleases. Stop judging her and her choices.
Okay, but hang on. Hang on. Take Huma out of this. Guys, look at the polls. Throw up the polls. We have two different polls here. I don't have my piece of paper, so I'm going to do this on the fly off the screen. So this is the New York City Department. These are the Democratic choices for mayor. One of the polls, you know, you have Christine Quinn at the top. Anthony Weiner is below. The other poll is the Quinnipiac poll. Weiner's on top. I mean, this is, you know, before this whole thing broke. Let me say that. But a lot of New Yorkers so far, they knew about the scandal, you know, back in 2011.
Right.
They're still liking Anthony Weiner, at least as of a couple of days ago. What do you tell New Yorkers?
I think part of this is people love just kind of messing with politics, and they love a good train wreck, and people in New York love the gossip columns. And I think some of this is going to change when it gets closer to Election Day, because I think people love being able to pick up the newspaper and they feel better about themselves because look at this guy. I mean,
wait a minute. Hold on,
more people, and they're going to know him by the name Carlos Danger than they are after Anthony Weiner, and that's really hard to do with the last name Weiner. Yet he's been able to top it. That's impressive.
Listen, I think people are going to know he's Weiner, and I think if people don't vote for him, I think it's because maybe he was a little stupid and that he got caught. But frankly, I think to make it like he's the only politician to have some sort of sex scandal, which, by the way, didn't involve actual sex.
Right. It didn't.
So,
and, you know, but Ben, you also talk about, you know, picking up the newspaper, and both of you saying, you know, we love the salacious stuff, but at the end of the day, it's one thing, you know, who knows what people are up to behind closed doors. And look, America loves a good redemption story. Look at the Bill Clintons, look at the Mark Sanfords. Why can't this guy be redeemed?
He can.
Well, here's the other thing. I mean, here's the other thing. You have real people that are truly suffering in New York City. You have unemployment rates that are very high, especially among minority communities. You've got schools that are having major problems. They're having budget issues. And the real question is, out of all the people that live in New York City, is Anthony Weiner the most qualified person for this job? And I think with the distractions and the fact that he can't get his act together, even it took him a whole year to get his own personal life under control after a scandal that almost cost him his marriage and cost him his job, I think it's a terrible choice for the people suffering in New York City.
And I think that's totally incorrect, only because one thing really has very little to do with the other. Who cares who he's sexting in terms of whether he can fix budget issues and housing issues?
All right,
that's all I'm...
Well, if he's distracted during the budget meetings because his phone's beeping all the time, it could be an issue.
Ben Ferguson, always bringing it back to Carlos Danger. Ben Ferguson, we got to go. Ben Ferguson, Jenny Hyde, great conversation. And it's true, really. It's about that question and the people of New York City. Guys, we appreciate it very much.